one thing I taught myself to do. No matter the problem, refuse to lose. So how you want it, man? You can choose. If you can't take the heat, don't light the fuse.
Good morning. My name is Wes. I'm a has-been football player from CU, and recently my dad was diagnosed with cancer. The doctors are very optimistic and think he should have a full recovery because of his overall health and with how early they caught it. But when you hear the word cancer, it's scary. You start to think about the results of cancer, the main one being life ending. Because at the end of this life is death. And death can come at the end of a very long and illustrious life, or at the end of a dull life. It can come and cut life off in an accident or in sickness and disease. No matter how long our life may be, it ends in death. Once dead, our bodies are laid 6 feet below. One of 3 things can happen. 1, we become worm food. 2, we all go to heaven, no matter who we were or what we did. 3, only those who put their faith in Jesus go to heaven, and those who do not, don't. If at the end of this life we become worm food, there is no other purpose in this life but to get all that you can by the time you are put in the ground. There is no other purpose but to selfishly pursue what's yours at all costs, because your existence will only amount to what you are able to gain and achieve. Your purpose is found in the things of this world. No need to worry about stepping on others to get to where you want, or even thinking about helping the needy. They need to do a better job of helping themselves. If we all go to heaven when our bodies are laid to rest, then there again is no other reason but to live selfishly. We all get to go to a place no one can imagine how good it will be. We'll be in a place where God will wipe away every tear from our eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more, for the former things have passed away. That's Revelation 21:4. So there will be no pain, or suffering, or disease, or car accidents, or poverty. Instead, it will be rainbows and butterflies for the rest of eternity for everyone, including mass murderers, child molesters, kidnappers, rapists, thieves, bigots, and that person you would have never suspected would go to heaven. They'll be there because God is so good, he doesn't look at any bad and rewards all with the trophy of heaven. The last option following death is where Christians fall into place. That binary system that says believers, not good people, but believers get into heaven, and those who do not believe, which could include good people, will not. In this thought, a believer is someone who puts their faith or trust in Jesus Christ. Someone who sees his death on the cross and knows that his death gives them life. Someone who sees this gift of life and repents or rethinks their strategy of life from now on and does their best to follow the teachings of Jesus while making him the Lord of their life, or the master or king of their life. You might hear that last sentence and think, I don't want to give up my freedom to follow God, because the first 2 options allow you to live however you want, and in the end, everyone ends up in the same place, worm food or heaven. But this last option is the one most people tend to believe, but also have a problem with. They want to go to heaven, but they want their freedoms over anything else. Jonathan Pokluda is a pastor in Waco, Texas. Awesome guy. Said, it will cost you something to follow Jesus, but it will cost you everything to not follow Jesus. Meaning it might cost you some of your freedoms, but at the end of life, if this third option after death is actually the way, then we want to make sure we get it right. Otherwise, if we get it wrong, it will cost us an eternity of separation from the King. And so believers have hope. These believers can be anyone and can have any past in the world. They could have been mass murderers, child molesters, kidnappers, rapists, thieves, bigots, or even that person you would have never suspected would go to heaven. There is nothing they can do to earn their salvation. They just have to repent and follow Jesus. Now again, my dad has cancer. That's a scary word because it comes with the potential for bankruptcy, suffering, and worst of all, death. But there's a large difference between my dad and a lot of the world out there. My dad has hope. Hope in what comes after death. Hope in Jesus Christ. My dad has put his faith and his trust in Jesus Christ. And because of that, he knows without a shadow of a doubt that at the end of this life, he will go to heaven and see his King. If I asked my dad today, on a scale of 1 to 10, how sure are you that you would go to heaven? 1 being not so sure, and 10 being completely certain, he would answer me with 10. Because of what Jesus said in John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Meaning that the only way to get to heaven, the Father, is by being a believer, through Jesus. My dad has complete certainty that he will see his Maker at the end of his life. Now, talking about death when cancer is very near and very real is weird, right? This cancer could dance its way through his body and take a bow at the end of the day, leaving my dad breathless. It's typically one of those things that everyone thinks about but shies away from actually talking about. As a Christian, my dad does not find his purpose in life by being the best businessman, the best father, the best old guy that still plays soccer 2 days a week, by being the most creative builder, awesome hunter and fisherman, or being a good man. My dad finds his purpose in life from knowing the creator of the universe and being known by him. Eric Christensen, as awesome as that name is, knows that he is not in control, but Jesus is. And trusting Jesus, Dad knows that all things work together for the good of those who love him. That's Romans 8:28. Notice, though, that it does not say all things happen for a reason. That's not in the Bible. There is no reason my dad should have cancer. He's lived a good life. He's done his best to be good to others, to raise his family in an honest way, and he's done his best to be a good person. If karma was real, my dad would have to be a terrible person to get this terrible disease. Not everything happens for a reason. There's an entire book in the Bible called Job that denounces this idea. What Romans 8:28 says is that all things will work out for the good of those who love Jesus. And my dad loves Jesus. The Apostle Paul tells us in his letter to the Colossians that by him, Jesus, all things were created in heaven and on earth, and that they were created for him. He is in all and through all. So Jesus is in control of the story, not my dad. And Dad's cool with that. Because my dad isn't in control and finds his purpose in knowing Jesus, he doesn't have to worry about tomorrow, Matthew 6:34, but can rejoice in knowing that he is blood-bought by the King. It's 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20. He can fight this cancer knowing whatever the outcome is, it will all work out for his good. Because one day, he will get to see the King in all of his glory and majesty, and spend eternity with the one who knows him completely and loves him completely, which is as good as it can get. Now, selfishly, I hope that I get to spend a lot more time with my dad before he gets to go be with Jesus. But I hope that this makes you think about the choices you have to make in this life and how those choices affect your eternity. I hope that through the choices you've made, you are in relationship with the image of the invisible God, the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, with Jesus. I hope that in knowing Jesus, you are able to share about him with those around you. And my hope is that you are filled with peace and joy as you walk out your days in this crazy world. Have a great day.